the amount of scenes that get built in like what is a C market, right? And then you play to 5 kids, but you come back and they've told 20 people each, and you're like, well, there's 100 kids, and guess what? No one else plays here. So you are 100 kids' favorite band of all time.
Yeah.
So many guests have been in here, and no one has said anything about that poster. So
I had to.
Connor, thank you for noticing the greatness.
Of course.
Yeah.
Literally, to me, I think that's one of the best movies of all time.
Dude,
it's great.
it's incredible. Like, truly one of my favorite movies when I was a kid.
For context, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
I don't know what year, which one it came out. The poster says featuring music from MC Hammer, which is crazy.
That is MC Hammer, huh?
Yeah, I've yet to see it.
And then the actual MC Hammer. Oh wow. I'm gonna guess. Okay, so this is the original movie. I'm gonna guess
There's
80.
of them.
80. Oh, I'm not gonna look.
There's more than 3.
80. I should know this. 87.
90.
I thought no. It has to be. It has to hit the 80s. Is 90?
90.
No.
On the nose.
Turning point in cinema.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
So
What is
bad.
you reading the Wikipedia for TMNT?
So we're just gonna watch this movie.
It's a watch party.
If you go back and rewatch this movie, it's a deep, like the storyline with like a Splinter and Leo, like the way they like communicate with each other, and like the storyline it's a very like insightful story.
Yeah.
I feel lame for being unfamiliar.
We have to watch it.
I've
as
never
adults.
seen it. Yeah.
Oh wow,
We'll watch it tonight.
this
Dude.
is a shame.
The second time it's come up because we were talking about the new one coming out and all that. So it's cool.
Wait, is there a new one coming out?
Did it come out or is it?
No, they
No,
have
it's-
like a.
it's going
It's
to.
like animated in the style of like Spider-Verse. Like it's like that more new age animation, but they have one coming out
Yeah, and
later
they're
this
like
year.
they're
next
all
year.
like younger.
This is
Yeah.
an ad
So
for
it's- yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem.
yeah.
Mutant
in
Mayhem?
theaters.
Haven't I
This
heard about
year.
what? Oh, this is fucked. This is fucked.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Who does he voice?
I think he like
Made
put
it.
it together, but he voices
okay.
I think Bebop or Rocksteady.
Wow.
Peep the fucking.
I have not seen this.
Dude.
I just want to see his faces. Okay, so this is animated.
Yeah.
Oh, this is definitely a movie to watch on drugs.
I was about to say.
Their faces. If you're just listening, you should definitely check out like just their faces. There's something.
The trailer for TMNT Mutant Mayhem.
Wow. It's crazy how far these movies go. Like movies like this, and you name it, Batman's and stuff. But it's just like this
Yeah.
never ending, and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
It's just
I mean, there's so much you can do with them. Like
Yeah.
so many offshoots of storylines that will apply.
Totally.
Well, and they keep putting
And
out
money is
content.
cool.
Like, I mean, like comic book writers and stuff like that between
Yeah.
Marvel and DC and all the big ones. Like, there's so much that they're still doing.
Yeah.
And so you can do, like the Batman.
Post Malone.
you know.
2 minutes. John Cena, Ice Cube,
Just-
Post Malone.
What a lineup!
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Cameron
a-
Burris?
Wild. Jack
My
Chan,
man,
baby.
Paul
Mr.
Rudd.
Chan.
Giancarlo Esposito.
They got
That's
an
awesome.
A-list. They got an A-list.
I just want to say
Cast.
what an honor it is to be here because I watched Suicide Silence guitar like instructional videos. during my-
terrible.
dude, during my formative years, I was just like when you get into like heavy guitar and you're just like, how do you make things sound so nasty, like so evil? And I remember like watching it play through. It was like, yeah, this riff is 2-1-0, and I was like, that's awesome. That is so sick.
I am too embarrassed to go back and watch those.
Dude, that was formative for me. Like
Really?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not even kidding. I'd never played a 7-string in my life. I didn't know I got into like heavy music pretty late. Like, well, pretty late considering other people. Like, I was like 17, 18 or something. Like, when I finally actually dove into like stuff with breakdowns.
Really?
Yeah. And so I had a really good. I had a friend that was like, literally this.
Hell
I
yeah.
literally watched this in the unanswered one. And
What the
yeah.
I have never watched. I can't. This podcast has made a turn for the worst.
This was so formative.
This
for
is not what I
me.
want to talk about. This is my fucking show.
Turn on.
It's awesome because this is actually the video. Like some.
The drums. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh.
I guess that's the easiest way to explain it.
Fuck yeah,
I'm
Mark.
pretty sure it's like the No Pity for a Coward video, and like y'all are talking about how like everything you hit is like purposely you make the root note the first fret, so that when the last breakdown hits and it's an open note, it's like way heavier, and that like stuck with me forever. Like I approached like writing like that, was like no, we're gonna trick them, make them think that this is it, and then dude out of nowhere, like it's dumb heavy. Like he knows that like for sure.
Yeah.
Like I took that with me forever.
It is true. It's like we weren't trying to do like a key change, but it is technically a key change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that was Mark's idea. Like, you play on one for like a while, and then you just drop it to zero.
Yeah, it was just
And then
brutality.
Yeah.
You just vibing with it. It was all that was super. I had a friend. I was gonna say I had a friend that was like super into deathcore, and was not familiar with anything. And
Yeah.
it was like Suicidal was one of his favorite bands. He had like 30 of your shirts, like straight up, like every single color tank, and then like every like print that had possibly been made. So he like showed me, and it like changed how I like looked at like music, like just knowing that like how brutal you could be, but you didn't have to. I don't know. You guys obviously had like shreddy stuff and like solos and stuff.
Yeah.
But my favorite stuff was when it was just da 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 da. Like I'd never listened to music like that. Like
Whoa.
maybe deep dive for sure.
Appreciate
And then I was like,
that.
"What's slam?"
I mean, well, speaking of heavy, I mean, we got Mugshot in the house. You've taken heavy to a whole other level, and that bands like you are inspiring me now. You know,
That's
I appreciate
crazy
that.
to hear.
it's crazy.
Like I think our whole goal is to write something as heavy as possible, but without.
Wow.
I think for a long time, heavy in the mainstream of metal was slow. Make it slow, and it's like a 100
down-tuned.
BPM breakdown.
Yeah.
And we're like, how fast can we possibly play stuff and have it be so aggressive that it's heavy? So it's definitely cool to hear you say that.
It's real life. I was playing. I played it from like front to back, like the first record to like the EP, and then you literally just put out a single like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
I was like, it was a nice, great timing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna talk to him literally today.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's really cool how far that you're taking like the sound and making it your own.
Yeah.
It's cool.
All of us collectively love core. That's what I like
Core.
to say. Like just
Yeah.
anything that ends in core, we're probably a fan.
Heavy
Like,
core.
Yes. Yeah. In general, deathcore, metalcore, hardcore, like all of it, the whole spectrum. Just like influenced and inspired by all of that. So just try to take every like element that we enjoy and like put it all in the music. Is like I feel like that's the MO for the most part.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there something called heavy core, like a genre?
There's
Heavy-
gotta
there's gotta be
be,
heavy
bro.
core.
There's got to be, yeah.
Ignorant core.
There is once this podcast drops.
Yeah.
It's coming.
We just coined it.
Heavy core.
There's definitely
Chug
music
core.
that is heavy core.
Heavy core bands.
Looks like there's some
Core genres.
Heavy core genres.
crunk core. I don't think I've heard crunk
Front
core.
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 Let's deep dive on.
I think that's the
It's
biggest
not-
mugshot inspiration.
Okay, before we go into crunk core, let's do a quick intro so people can put
Absolutely.
voices to like names.
Yeah.
Names to voices.
Yeah. My name's Connor. I play drums and produce all of our music.
I'm Ringo. I sing in the band, and I do like all of our like artwork and stuff.
My name's Michael. I play guitar and write songs in Mugshot.
And my name's Brandon. I'm playing bass. I'm filling in.
But
But
Permanent
playing bass.
fill-in.
Yeah.
all that permanent filling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Playing bass all the time.
even when he's not here, he's still our bass player. You know what I mean? So,
It's great. You're on that like 6 month like tryout.
yeah.
Yeah. and then some.
It's like, do we even like this guy?
We love
Who
him.
knows?
Massive favors.
Yeah.
Well, that's the biggest thing is that Connor and I are like best friends, and then I got to get a lot closer with these guys over the last year, and so it's like when it's that simple, when we all get along that well, and you're just hanging out all the time, it doesn't feel like I gotta, fill in for this band. I gotta learn all these songs, like, see how it goes on the road. It's like I'm just hanging out with my best friends. So
Yeah.
that makes it way easier.
And he riffs. It helps a lot that he riffs.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, bass player, dude, it's crucial.
One of the second hardest member to find, in my opinion. First being a
Really?
drummer. I think drummers are so few and far, like competent.
How's it out? You know what? You're right. How is it out there now with like finding?
I'm the most
who's like
privileged person in music.
Okay.
I am like he carries so much of the weight of our band. Like I literally just write songs, and like that is where like I wouldn't know what to do with myself if not for all the resources like he provides, of like being able to record music and mix and master and having gear and like making touring happen, stuff like that. I would just be like I'd be just like a bedroom guitarist, like 100%, if not for Connor.
How did you meet Connor?
We went to my ex-girlfriend and him went to the same school, right?
Youth group back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
Youth group?
Good old
Yeah.
youth group.
Yeah, and he
Didn't age well, I'll tell you that.
He'd been
No,
playing
no.
shows since like 13, something like that.
Yeah.
He'd been playing shows in like metalcore bands since he was like 13 years old. And I'd never met any. I grew up in San Jose, but I went to school in like a small town right outside called Morgan Hill. And there are people that play music out there, but it was impossible to get a band together. There's not really that many like-minded. Like I was the only person at my school that like, besides my other friend, that like listened like core, or like I was really into pop punk and stuff like that. Like I had to like tell everyone else about that shit. No one was really into it like that. Yeah. So the first time I actually like got to jam with another group of individuals, it was him. Like I just happened to meet him, who had like friends who've been playing shows. They've been doing local stuff for a long time. He also had been recording music by the time I'd met him, and I was 17 at the time. So it just opened all the doors for me. Was just meeting like his friend group essentially.
So you meet Connor's friend group, and that's lucky. We're like their first person you start jamming
Super
with.
privileged.
It's like, okay, now
100%. Especially now that I've like been. Mugshot was my first band. Like,
And it's your first band?
It's very
Yeah.
privileged. I'm incredibly privileged. I really,
That's sick.
I realize that more and more. Like the more I meet people and like have toured and stuff like that. Like I wrote the Mugshot demos like in high school, like in my notebook, like tabbed them out, and then was just like, I just want to like. I was really into like hardcore. I still am, but I was like, I just want to like make some demos that I would like pit to, like I'm into. So I like wrote the 2 songs and we recorded them. And by the end of that like recording session, he was like, "Hey, if you ever want to play shows, like we should do this. This is cool." And I was like, "I don't know what that means, but like, word, I'm down." Yeah.
What's a show?
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, I'd gone to local shows, but it was beyond me the idea of like being integrated that way. Like they were like superstars to me. Even just your local hardcore band, like being able to like have everybody in San Jose care about your band like that. I was like, that's crazy. That's so cool. Like that's beyond me.
It's like I get to play guitar outside of my bedroom.
Yeah.
In front of people.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah. Up until I was 17, all I would do is like play albums like in my room, like standing up, like you're playing a set. I'd just play like an album front to back. You know
That's a
what I mean?
great idea.
Yeah, that's all I would do. I recommend that to anybody that doesn't have a band. Learn your favorite album and then just play it all day and have some type of idea of how you feel holding a guitar and you know what I mean, shit like that. Because when I jammed with them, he was like, "Yo, you're actually pretty good with your timing and shit." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And then I jammed with other people. And I'm like, "Oh, that's what he means." Some people don't have rhythm.
Some people don't have rhythm and timing. What records or songs were you jamming?
I'm be real with you.
Don't say it.
Like I said, I was a late bloomer in like heavy music. So like I would jam like every MyChildren album.
Okay.
I learned all of Frank Iero's parts. So like Revenge, Bullets, and Black Parade. I know all of Frank's parts. So I would just play those. And then Story So Far was huge. They're from Walnut Creek, which is really close to San Jose. So like just them being a Bay band, like super, super influential for me. So I would play both of their full lengths, like front to back, both guitar parts. Like I'd spend like 2 hours a day doing that just because they were like my favorite band. And then when I got into heavy music, it was like I would tune the same guitar all the way to drop A, and I would play Suicide Silence songs. Like I would play like 5 songs. I would play 5 songs off the Cleansing, and then I would just like I would watch. I was just so dumb. I would watch like breakdown videos and just see if I could just like figure out what tuning it was in. Because I was like, well, I could tune my guitar this low. Like let's just see if this one's so this song plays in C. Like
Did you even have a tuner at that point?
Like a Snark, you know what I mean? Like
clip-on board?
Dude, I had a 15-watt with a junior model Epiphone Les Paul, and I played on that. Like we recorded our whole first like full-length demo type full-length that we have. All of that was on like a junior model Epiphone Les Paul with a Seymour Duncan Invader. like the worst gear possible, like cheapest. Yeah. It couldn't stay in tune to save your life. It was awesome.
Is that it?
Oh, there it
Is
is.
this it
Yeah,
right there?
yeah. So that black one came with a little 15-watt combo amp, and I had Behringer, like the cheap Behringer pedals. That was like all I had growing up, just like learning shit. And I was like, yeah, this sounds awesome.
You might have got a good. I call them a good batch. Sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah.
Like, you'll buy like a not expensive instrument and just like something clicks.
That carried me. That absolutely carried me. Like for all of my formative years. I didn't get another guitar for a really long time. Honestly, I played that one forever. I literally played that one until I joined a band. So yeah, junior model Les Paul, which is hilarious. I play a baritone now. I play his baritone, which is like completely different. Yeah, but I love that. I much prefer that now, actually.
Yeah, because you're on the 6 strings, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
We played an A for like all release and just see how it felt. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but A flat, A sharp, like just that little, you know what I mean? Just a little extra punchiness. Like I felt that, you know what I mean? And maybe it's because of the riffs we write. Like it just didn't translate super well at like lower. So we did like A sharp. Yeah. Yeah. The new stuff is actually in C standard because now I'm in love with standard. I think it sounds so disgusting and nasty.
So the new song that the band just put out, that's in standard.
C standard.
Yeah.
C standard. Okay.
Yeah.
But we play it like it's in drop.
Almost nothing is a normal power chord.
Oh, so you're. I get that.
still
too.
barring.
Yeah, just barring everything. We've really like, I feel like, come
It's a very
home with the dissonance. Like,
It's a very blood has been shed thing to do.
Yeah.
Standard because that was their secret as well. They were because you're like, this is 6 string. I know that's not A or B or
a
G.
whole nother
I'm like, what's
realm.
he doing? What is? Oh, it's
Yeah.
it's standard C.
Yeah.
and he's not doing.
you could do that in E standard, and it's so nasty.
It is nasty.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
We just have to be smart about how you do it.
because
Like, I
that
feel
fifth
like-
comes through so much, it sounds
does.
like it's an A.
Yeah, it's punchy as shit.
Yeah, which it kind of is.
Yeah.
'Cause
Like, because it's, if you put your guitar in drop A, it's AE. You've just
Yeah.
inverted the tuning at that point.
Plus, then you get to have those clean power chords, and you can do the like hardcore, like Marauder, Master Killer chords,
Yeah,
and
the
you throw the
inverted,
pinky
yeah.
on there. Like,
Dude, I love standard.
it's just a lot more versatile, I think.
love standard.
Than like drop is really fun to be able to just like riff easier, but once you get comfortable with the power chords and playing stuff in
Yeah.
standard, it's like
But also, when we were doing Empty Heaven, on that EP, if there's ever like, there's hardly ever a time where we're doing normal power chords, and normal as in like barring like all in the same fret.
Yeah.
I would usually do, so say if it's like on 3, instead of 3-3-3, it's 3-3-4, and I would just do that everywhere. Just add a little bit of
Oh,
dissonance
yeah, that-
everywhere.
that chord's sick.
I committed to that like so hard on that. I was like, we should just be always dissonant, like constantly. Like we might as well. So I feel like that's like a theme that we really like tried to stick with, or at least I've tried to stick with like riff writing is like dissonance. I'm really inspired by bands that can make like ugly riffs that work. You know what I mean? Like Cannibal's the best at that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's like, how do you guys know like the most evil sequences to play, like effortlessly, like the next note is ugly as possible but still works.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Ugly as possible, heavy as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Equals Mugshot.
There we go. Summed it up.
That's great. Is this your first interview ever?
Yes.
I am so honored to be a part of this
Dude,
journey.
likewise.
We were talking
with-
about it, and we
with,
were like,
with your band.
how
Thank
are we
you.
going from no interviews ever
Yeah.
to like arguably one of the coolest things we could do,
Yeah.
the Garza podcast?
Yeah.
No, That's-
Absolutely.
Oh, we've been
the
we've been talking
format
about
of
it.
this is so cool because
Yeah.
you see a lot of things where it's like one person talks to just the vocalist and it's over FaceTime and you don't get like the interaction of like the whole group.
Yes.
And I think the fact that we're all in a room together is
Yes.
so much cooler and like
Yeah.
like this is a hang
Yeah.
more than like a
yeah.
So like why did you name your band this?
Yeah.
Please don't ask that. Please don't ask that.
that's my next question.
Scratch that thing out.
Closes the book.
It's like, well, I guess that's
Thanks for stopping by,
having
guys.
you.
Yeah.
all I got. That's all I got.
Hardest band to ever exist. Respectfully
Of
to
course.
everybody that's ever been in a band.
I will
Cannibal
also
Corpse.
say, backtracking a little bit, it's very full circle for us because he would stand up in his room and play Story So Far albums in full. We met at a Story So Far concert,
True.
and now being signed to the same
forgot.
record label as them, and obviously in a drastically different lane,
Yeah.
but like very full circle moment for
Yeah, it
us
feels
as a
good.
band.
And that's actually what I wanted to ask you guys. It seems because I want to say you guys came out 2015-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we put out 2 songs in 2014, but we like actually started being a band in 2015.
Yeah.
Like playing shows and working on new music, and I think our first tour was January of 2016 or something. We did like a little run.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, how was the actual this is where I get geeky because I try to get this one little bit. If I get this one bit out from a band, the conversation kind of go wherever it goes.
Yeah,
yeah.
But because no one did it for me back in the day. But how did what was the formation? What was it one? Was it just Mike? Was it just Connor? Or was it you guys get together and start a band there? How was the actual formation?
yeah, so me and our original vocalist had just been in metalcore and hardcore bands, and we're doing the thing and having fun. We were in high school, it was nothing super serious. I think when we met, I was 16 at the time, and we were just talking, and he was showing me covers that he would record on his iPhone and stuff like that, and I was like, "These are cool. We should hang out. Obviously we have a shared interest."
Yeah.
He came over and we were just messing around, and I had a MacBook and a little interface and
That's a lot.
yeah, I mean, I was I can't afford as a 14-year-old kid in high school to go record, so I'm just going to figure it out on my own. So he came over and we just started demoing stuff, and I was like, this is cool, and if you listen to them, they sound terrible. It's
the loudest bass drop you've ever heard, brother.
It's the worst.
And we were like, fuck
yeah.
Terrible program drums.
Guys, heavy.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and then, he said, me and our original vocals were if you want to play shows, that's all we want to do is just hang out and play shows. I think we played our first show in 2015
Yeah.
to,
It was a youth crew show.
30 kids
And
that
we had
didn't care.
big dumb breakdowns. It was very funny. I was
Yeah.
also grounded and had to leave immediately, which is the coolest thing to do, right?
That's great.
Just the best thing is to play a show and dip right after. But I was super, super grounded. I was in trouble, but
We, really set ourselves up with that show.
yeah.
But yeah, and then I think, we found a bass player, and we were cool, let's just keep doing this thing, and obviously we're in high school or just graduating. It's very inconsequential what happens with this. We're just trying to have fun. And we put out Doleboy, and it got it was by no means big, but it got a little bit of an underground following, and people from across the country were this is dope, and I was
wow.
yeah, that's super cool. We never really fit in the scene in our hometown just because it's really fixated on hardcore music, which we weren't doing. I would say we were doing almost beatdown
At
music.
the time, especially.
Yeah.
I couldn't put a word. I was listening to this. I couldn't put a word to it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's obviously a metalcore band. I always say that. Mugshot is obviously first and foremost very metalcore, but you can hear that there's a lot of influence from hardcore. And at that time especially, we were doing real slow breakdowns, the beatdown thing.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I
course.
mean? But like I said in the beginning, we're all just inspired by core. So that was even from the get-go, it wasn't we were oh, we're gonna make a deathcore leaning, hardcore leaning. It was just okay, this part's sick, and then that part's slow and dumb, and this part's sick. That was the only thought process behind it.
and because we didn't fit in at all, we were let's just try and get to the next state over. I don't know if there's a scene up in Oregon and Washington at this point, but I know that we really like this band called Low Roads from Arizona. So we're let's see if we can go do something with them. So I think it was 2017 is when we did this. It was a week-long run. It was actually Ringo.
It was my old band.
His old band, which is how we first met. But we were cool. Let's just we'll do some Southern California shows, some Arizona.
It was the first week of 2017.
And that was also the first time we had ever gone to California.
Yeah.
Because we were an Arizona band. And it was the same kind of situation. We were let's see what's going on in other cities, other states, whatever. And so then that came together really nicely.
And we play in Arizona, and we're okay, this is a little bit better, right? This is a little bit of a step up because these people get the music. They actually care. And I think from there, we were just cool, we just need to find our home outside of our home.
Yeah.
Where that music is what people are looking for. Because if no one's looking for what you're selling, then you're not selling.
Yeah.
And that's how we just started touring, was just out of necessity to try and play cool shows.
Yeah.
We were like, cool, let's go somewhere else and just see what we can do.
What's kept us going is the fact that it has been cool. Like the more that we tour, it's like we would go places, and even like when it was like when we were first starting out, even if it was just 1 or 2 kids, you'd be like, oh, I listen to Doughboy and like I love this album or whatever. But like that's worth it. Like
It's a trip, huh?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super. Even all the way like 2018, like we play like Georgia or whatever.
Wow.
And these kids would come up and be like, I loved your album since it came out. It's like, okay, well then this is worth it. This show alone is worth it for y'all. You know what I mean? So that was really really cool. Like in the beginning.
Yeah. And we did so many tours with him and his old bands. Like, first it was Low Roads, and then that dissolved and turned into him doing vocals in a band called With Crows, and we did a bunch of tours with them. And it was just like, I get to hang out with people that I think are super cool, and then one kid at every show is like, that album, like, changed my life. Like,
Yeah.
I started
Yeah.
playing heavy music because I heard that. And I was like, hey, if one person on a tour tells me that, this whole thing was worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
So then, at what point did Ringo become like official?
Yeah, so we recorded Empty Heaven in 2019. We had been like playing some of the songs and just trying to be like, is this cool live? Like, because as we grew, we had problems with our music. We were just like, this, like, no one moshes during this part. So
Yeah.
let's make sure we write music where kids want to move the whole time.
So that explains the change.
Yes.
Got
The
it.
focus is 100% live music. Like
Yeah.
that is all we think about now. Is like the same with before it was like this part's sick, this part's sick. Now it is like, how will this go over live? That is all. I want you to be able to hear Mugshot, and if you've never heard us before, but you're at the show, you're like, I can mosh right now. Like you don't have to tell me what to do. I know. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole, just being fun to listen to live, you know, especially.
Yeah.
That is like the main goal now.
Yeah.
So that was the main shift. Like I feel like Empty Heaven took a really long time, and it was because we were ironing out those songs for like
Yeah, why did it take so long?
It was really because we were ironing. I'm very like, I'm never happy with rough drafts, and I think that was the hardest creative block I've ever had, because I was like really trying to, we put out Doughboy so fast, and it wasn't like I was like immediately like, oh, I hate this, but it was like I want to be more focused. I want to actually like go for something. And so I feel like on Empty Heaven, it's very groove based. That's what I always say. It's very much like intentionally just everything has a groove to it. This big mid tempo bounce mosh type. You know what I mean? I feel like that would be engaging. Like if you're seeing this band, like you could always at least get into the fact that they're really groovy. You know, the new stuff, I'm like, let's be fast and like gross. Let's like freak people out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But yeah, I misspoke. We recorded in 2020, in January of 2020.
Yep.
And I started mixing it, and then the world shut down, and I was like, cool, like we'll see how long this lasts. And it's been so long that I want to put out this music to an audience of people and tour on it. And so then we waited a whole year, and we were like, okay, like I guess we're just gonna put it out, because who knows when touring the way that we knew it is gonna come back.
Yeah.
So we put it out, and shows start to open back up, and we're like, cool, like let's start planning stuff. At that time, our original vocalist was like, I think he just realized over COVID, like, this isn't for me. Like, he's going to school now, and so we were like, okay, who makes more sense than the person we've done like 70% of our tours with than Ringo?
Yeah.
Best decision we could have ever made, because like fully changed the trajectory of the band.
And lucky that he was like, yeah, I'm down. For sure.
Yeah.
Because that's a big commitment to be like, hey, I'll sing for your band.
Yeah,
Like, that's crazy.
I was raised in Arizona, and so I basically was just in bands and stuff out there. I was in another band right before the world shut down, and that band kind of just like fizzled out with that and stuff. And then I ended up moving over to LA, and I was like, well, I kind of want to start something out here. And I was like, I'm probably going to end up touring with Mugshot again anyways. And then we kind of started talking, and then I joined, and that was that.
At the time when we announced that he had joined, it was the most liked post we had ever made.
We were like, word.
Ringo is everyone's favorite person in the music scene. He does art like as his job, his primary job. He makes artwork for bands and stuff. So like people just love him. And so it was like immediate reception of that, which is awesome, because
It's awesome.
I'm sure you know, like getting a new vocalist is tough.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Like, who knows, right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe people will be like, this is cool, or maybe people will be like, that sucks.
Yeah.
And so I think we were super fortunate that, one, everyone loves him already, but two, like, he's such a legitimate frontman.
Yeah.
And when we play live, every time we get the compliment of like, dude, Ringo like is a front man.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
It rules.
It's like, cool, that's how I planned it.
Yeah.
That's all-
So I
that's all-
definitely knew that.
But does the design work too? Like every single show will be like, you will see at least a person, if not several, with a Ringo Waterman original. Just like some band would be like, I did that logo for sure. Yeah. Every single show, like without
Really?
fail. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a trip because like when I started doing design work, it was like I'm booking shows like house shows at my place in Arizona. I just need a quick flyer to like promote the show, so I just like do some flyers, and then suddenly like my friend was like, hey, can you do a flyer for me? And I was like, sure, whatever. And then it was just like on, and then Mugshot was actually the first band I did a merch design for. They were like, hey, can you do a shirt for us? And I was like, maybe. So then
We'll find out.
I did a shirt for them and stuff, and then it was just like, oh, I could do this.
Did you ever have a thought in your mind where like, I could see myself in this band at all?
Like, I would say no, because like they were just like really close friends, and I'm like, I wouldn't mind. Like, I will start bands to tour with this band, because like I love touring with them, and it's like every time one of my bands was like, hey, let's book a tour, I'm like, I'm gonna hit up Mugshot, because they're just like such cool people to hang out with, and it was just always like such a fun time, like always just like fucking around in parking lots and like just messing around and stuff. And so then finding out that like I could join the band, I was like, now I'm just always going to be with them. It's going to be awesome.
We're all very like-minded, which is
and it's
super
just
lucky.
constant, every day, it's just like we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
And I do think like we had conversations because his original band he played guitar in, and he's a ripper of a guitar player too. And so I think we had conversations where we were like, if we ever had a second guitar player, like it'd probably be Ringo if he was down. And so that just led to the conversation of like, well, he's also an incredible vocalist, so let's just have him be our vocalist if we need one.
Yeah.
100%. Seems like it just sometimes seems like choose you. It's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Or sometimes like it's like in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been around, for so long. It's just like he's in your face, but like, you don't know what's like. Oh, this is gonna be the singer of my band for like 2 years from now.
I never would have guessed that's how it worked
weird.
out.
It's so weird how that shit is.
That's the thing. It's like when we were leading up to play our first show together, like as this group, we had like so many complications happen. We had like our van break down. We were dropping like $10K fixing it. Like we got stuck in Salt Lake, and like just leading up to the first tour together. And so we had no time to practice.
Yeah.
And we packed up the van, drove to the first show, and zero practice. We were like, all right, let's see how this goes. And then as soon as he counted off, it just like all clicked.
Yeah, I felt real good.
And like we were just immediately all in the same wavelength. And then, like even then, they hadn't played a show together in years, and like having a new singer, having a new
It's a lot.
setup, yeah. And so I mean, the fact that it just clicked and it was so natural that it was just like, yeah, this is it.
Everything that led up to that tour was a recipe for like, this is your last tour. This is the last thing you do as a band. Like every single thing that we had dealt with up to that point was like, if this doesn't go well, like, there's no reason you shouldn't just stop doing this. And then it went so well that we're like, it's only gone up. Like since we came back from COVID and stuff, it's like it's only been great.
Yeah.
It's only been like awesome.
I remember that day we were just on our last, like we were like, this isn't gonna work out. Like this is gonna suck, whatever. And we were all in such bad moods, and like the show started, our set ended, and it was like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. Like
Those first 3 shows, the first 3 comeback shows, we made more in the first show. We made more in merch than we'd made as our entire touring history in general altogether in one show. So we're like, okay, cool. This is gonna be good. And then the next show was also like that. We're like, awesome. I can't believe we're back. This feels amazing.
yeah.
Like we rolled up to the first show, and it is just basically a empty warehouse in Walla Walla, Washington.
And it was freezing.
It is like 20, 30 degrees, and there is no heating in this warehouse.
Yeah.
And I pulled both of them aside, and I was like, yo, we just dropped thousands of dollars on our van. What should have been a 16-hour drive, which is already long, turned into like a 25-hour drive.
Yeah.
If this doesn't go well, let's just go home.
Yeah, let's just leave.
And let's just be done with it. Because I was like, in probably the worst mental state I've ever been in. Mm-hmm. And then we played to, I think, 200 kids. And I was like, all right, never mind. This is dope.
This rules.
Pretty cool.
We also
great.
were leaving out a crucial detail. We had to backtrack. We had to backtrack bass, which we do not want to do. We're like, that's the last thing any of us ever want to do is just have someone not there, like, and playing an instrument. But we were left in like the worst circumstances possible. So we're also fingered crossed, like, please don't fucking walk out when you see that there's only 3 of us. Like, please don't fucking clown on us for this.
And then, like, we kind of did the 3-piece thing for that tour. And when people started talking about us, they were like, "Oh yeah, they're a trio," and we were like, "Trio's kind of sick. Like, that sounds sick." Like, yeah, and like I don't know.
It's not that sick.
True. Oh my goodness.
I will say it was very like we had someone comment and be like, "They sound so good," like for not having an actual bass player. And someone else commented and was like, "They had a bass player when I saw them," and then like 20 minutes later, they're like, I just looked at the video. It was only 3 of them up there. There was no bass player.
That was the best compliment, thank God.
Yeah.
Some people would be like, wait, you didn't have, oh yeah, huh? And they'd be like, I didn't even notice that till you pointed it out. Or like, 10 minutes into your set, I was like, oh, wait a second, there's only 3 of them on stage. That was like so relieving because I did not want that. Our bass player also used to be like the main energy giver in our band. Like he was one that would like mosh while playing and like really dance. And I was like, I've got a lot better about it, but it was so hard for me to like play and move. I'm such a like, you know what I mean? I wear my guitar really high and all
Can't
that.
fuck up.
I'm not even like a shredder. We don't have solos or anything like that. I'm the
feel ya.
messiest guitar player. I'm so like admittedly messy.
He's being very modest as somebody
Come
who had
on.
to learn all the
Come
riffs.
on. I'm not saying I'm a shitty guitar player. I'm saying I'm a messy guitar player.
When
messy.
when we're in the studio tracking and I'm watching him like play his parts, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how are your fingers doing that?
It's like that. Well, it looks messy.
Yeah.
Sounds great. It's very heavy.
He has this uncanny ability to write a riff that takes 99 tries to learn. And then on the 100th time you play it, you go, oh, okay, got it.
That makes sense.
Like you can practice it a
is.
million times and it never clicks. You can't quite hear it. You're trying to figure out how the fuck are you moving your
It's
hand
all
to
right
get
there.
there. And then there's a moment where you go, oh, and then you can play it forever.
He's just doing that. I hate him.
I call it drummer brain because he started off like with drum lessons. Like
Yeah.
that was the first musical instrument he started playing. And I've recorded so many guitar players that are drummers first, and I'm like, no guitar player would write that.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah, we have a different understanding of like rhythmic
Yeah.
stuff. So like when we write riffs, it's like we understand where notes land, like on up, like you know what I mean. Like we were on where he was convinced that this riff was like a weird time signature. I was like, no, this is 4/4. It's just really fucked up. It's dumb. And he's like, no, it's we spent like 20 minutes, and then he puts it in 4/4, and he was like, that's fucking so stupid. That's so dumb.
Yeah, it's not. You can make a 4/4 riff sound fucked up.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's 4/4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's just all clicks to me, baby. You know what I mean? It's just,
Well, and yeah, the riffs are so much more percussive and percussion based, not even specifically in the drums, but just in like the patterns, the picking patterns, things like that, the places where there are little
sounds
spaces,
fucked. Yeah.
stuff like that. And so even if you look at the tabs, that's only, 70% of what you're doing. Like the
It's the
notes,
syncopation.
Yeah, it's you
Yeah.
can hit ba-da-da, but you have to be like da ba-da-da. Like things that just weird little moments where you
that's something I feel like
catch.
we picked up because we talked about this yesterday. We're like, when people tell people that we're inspired by bands like Periphery, I always get like a weird look, like how or why, and I'm like, no, I don't want choruses or anything like that. Like I'm not talking about. It's like they approach riffs this crazy like percussive way. Like I think my favorite thing about like big metal bands, like crazy big, I'm talking like Meshuggah type, is like, or Gojira. Those are the 2 biggest examples. Is they understand like percussiveness and like syncopation. So when they write a riff that goes da 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 da, the drums go ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Like they actually as a unit make sure that it's drilled in, like that percussiveness. You know what I mean? I feel like we try to put that in our music as well. Not nearly as fucking massive as either of those bands,
Yeah.
but the idea is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not as heady.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys have tapped into something. I mean, I think that explains a lot. Why you're here, and that especially like you're already putting it into a position where okay, we should probably turn around and go home, and you didn't. Life will give you these tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And it'll just like, especially, and it'll always do it like Connor mentioned. It'll always do it when you're not in the best mental state. Things tend to happen in your life where you're not in the best mental state.
Yeah,
and
but put through the ringer.
You will be put through the ringer, but that's the time where you got to push through. You have to. Those are the moments that just make you better.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes before our set, if you were like, hey, just hang on, 2 years later or a year later, you'll be signed to Pure Noise Records and like you'll be doing cool tours, I would have been like, literally no way.
Thanks, Uber.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's
what happened.
yeah, like still
great,
can't
man.
really believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I feel like we're really lucky to exist in the time that we do, and like terms of heavy music. I feel like we're really privileged because you can do whatever you want with your genre nowadays. Like you can just add whatever flavor, and as long as you do it well, like people will listen to it. And I think that's really fucking cool. Like today's like heavy music is so malleable and so widespread, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're really lucky. I feel like even 5-6 years ago, like the type of music we put out, would be like, the fuck is this? Fucking deathcore ass. Like, that's what I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was so like because you had like the first record and then like the EP that came out in 2021. Like that obviously got a great like reception. People were like loving it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and then I looked at like the social media. I'm like, there's not many pictures. I'm like, how did they do that step? And now you're here. I'm like, how did this? I don't even know like what the hell's going on.
COVID and beyond.
It's a lot of
100%.
tidying up the socials. I hate when you go to a band's like socials and you're like, I want to find out if they're on tour right now. I want to know who's in the band. And then you see, and like we were guilty of this for a long time, but you see like 100 posts and they're just live shots, and I'm like,
I feel the same way.
I can't
just
find
flyers.
anything. I have no
Just
idea.
flyers.
Oh,
That's
dude,
that
that's
one's
the
much
worst.
worse. Yeah.
Really outdated stuff that's like, hey, we're hitting Salt Lake tonight, and it's from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, people don't need to.
You can move on.
You don't need to see that.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's funny that you bring it up because I've been doing it. Because doing this, I have to be on top of like who's in town.
Yeah,
right.
So, and the past 6 months, I've been noticing that. Like, I go to a band's IG, I just want to see the fucking tour dates.
Yeah.
Quick, top, in and out. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like searching. Like where?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
where did?
Not fun.
It's like where are the damn tour dates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I'm not following you. Look at this mess. Yeah.
And you like have to play the game a little bit. Like you have
Sure.
to post so that hopefully someone who somehow didn't see any of the tour flyers or anything sees, oh, they're gonna be in Anaheim tonight. I'll go. And I mean, we actually stole this from 4 Year Strong is where I first saw it. And it's Pure Noise took credit for it after we met them.
Nice.
But when you go onto like our Spotify, if you have the canvases turned on, it is just our tour dates. So when you pull up our music, if it pops up on a playlist or on radio or whatever,
saw that.
you can immediately see where we're gonna be. And we've had we did a headliner earlier this year, and kids were like, yeah, I just like came on and we were 2 hours away at a skate park and we thought it was dope, and we looked and we were like, oh, they're playing tonight.
fucking kids
So
came
we
that
got in the
day.
car and just went straight there.
It's insane.
That
Yeah.
is such a awesome idea, and it's funny. I heard Mugshot for the first time here. I think with Zach and Jay too. Like, I put it on. I think I just heard about the band name, and then I saw the tour dates pop up on the campus, and I was like, I'm gonna rip them off.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You
gotta
just have
pass
to be
it
on
along.
top of it because if you listen to Chon on Spotify, it's a tour from 2018. That's not. Yeah, we gotta move on.
So right now you're on tour with My Children, My Bride,
Yes.
and how's that been going?
Wild.
It's been great.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier, we don't usually get like the craziest reception in California, but this tour has been awesome.
Yeah.
Like
it's been very fun.
very good crowds. People are singing the words, which always blows
Yeah,
me away.
That's nuts.
Yeah, but it's been really awesome, and we've toured with No Cure before, and so it's great hanging out with them. And the Your Spirit Dies guys are like the sweetest country southern boys in the whole world.
Sickest band.
They all talk loudly. It's awesome.
so awesome.
Most talk
Carolinas.
like, yeah, they are awesome.
They're all
super cool
they're all
dudes.
really nice, and it's like it's really cool. Like one, like being out with No Cure when we've been out with them before, and like so you have like that familiarity, and then they're friends with with Your Spirit Dies, so it's like everyone kind of is introduced, very naturally and stuff. And then one of the members of MCMB is an original or one of the members of No Cure is an original member of MCAB. So it's like everyone's kind of like familiar with each other already. So it's like you get to the venue, you unload and stuff, and then everyone's just hanging out. And it's just like big group of friends. You know, it's like it's really fun, and I love tours like this.
Yeah. Really privileged.
And I'm sure you've had that experience of like you like touring with bands that you don't necessarily listen to or enjoy, and it's very cool to have this one where like I want to be inside watching the set every single night. Like both of those bands, or all three of those bands rather, are so awesome. And so getting to watch them rip and then also having such like fun times just hanging out with them is like, what more could you ask for out of a tour?
Yeah.
Like it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's crazy how when you see a band live, that's like, oh, then something clicks in your head sometimes. Oh, now you get it. And I wouldn't normally listen to this, but then once you see it,
We think about that a lot.
yeah,
For sure.
Oh shit! Let me jam that record that I've been ignoring the past 5 years.
Yeah.
I think live is our best foot forward, like always. Like I whenever I want to like show someone my band, I'd be like, no, just check this video out first. You know what I mean? Like I think our recorded music does rip, but like this, you're not gonna get it, I guess, unless you like see
And
like the energy.
That's like part of it as well. Like he had said earlier, he likes to write music with like a live energy and stuff. So it's like listening to it is one thing, but then when you see like the energy projected live, it's like so different. It's like it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing something. It's
We
sick.
definitely do something.
It's sick, man.
Thank you.
I was like, man, why? Because I was pretty in shock when I found out this was like your first interview, and then I looked in the history, like the way the years spread on your catalog. I was like, how did they? It was such a big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I feel like we're really fortunate that people cared once. When Empty Heaven dropped, when we put it out, it was like we had like 3,000 people listening to us on Spotify or something like that.
It's over at 150,000 right now.
Which is wild. It's
Yeah.
strange. I don't know. it jumped when...
No explanation.
It jumped when Empty Heaven did come out, and we got like real numbers, and it was like 30, 40 or something like that. And even that to us was just like, that's crazy. That's insane. I never would have...
made it.
Yeah. Honestly, because then you're above at least like a like local, quote unquote, you know what I mean? That doesn't actually mean anything to me. But like...
big deal.
Because we had been touring by that point, so it's not like that. But like it was to the point where I could be like, oh, look at my band. And like you'll see that it's like, I'm in a band for real, you know what I mean? The numbers look more serious. But then we were like, that doesn't mean fucking anything if you don't play a show and it's not sick. Like, if people don't actually know you, like, the numbers is just a fucking number.
Yeah.
So when we actually did come back and, like, play the shows, and the reaction was better than anything we've ever had, and it's only been that way since, is like, awesome. Very validating. That we wouldn't keep doing it if it was just nice numbers and we were still doing shit on tours, like, nah.
And it's still very like strange, like showing up to a venue in a city you've never played before and people are already wearing your merch, and it's like, we've never been here. How'd you get that?
Yeah. Like you ordered that and you wore it to the show.
Yeah.
That's sick. Hey Jay, go up. What is okay? So this first song, which is also the first song from EP. How do you say that?
Egodystonic.
Is that a real word?
It's I think you hyphenate it, and I don't want to butcher the actual definition.
How do you say it again?
Egodystonic. Egodystonic. Egosyntonic and
This word
egodystonic.
is fucking up my brain. Egodystonic.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so refers to thoughts, impulses, and behaviors that are felt to be repugnant, distressing, unacceptable, or inconsistent with one's self-concept. Interesting.
I can't speak too much because our original vocalist did write all the lyrics.
That's
for that song.
Yeah,
that's a fucked up word.
At least for that one.
Absolutely.
It was touching on essentially like breaking your like self-discipline and addiction. Like that's what most of his ego, I would say, is about. Like it's pretty plainly there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, ego sucks.
Yeah, he said that was the name, and I was like, let's name our band that. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
isn't there a band called Ego? Oh fuck! I'm sorry. I have Ego.
There is a band called Ego Trip.
Ego. Oh fuck! If I wasn't, I'm sorry. I was on a fucking airplane this morning. I woke up at 3 a.m.
Oh.
And went straight to the airport. Came.
Shout out Ego Trip from Nevada. For real.
It's or Ego Talent or Ego Kills Talent or something.
I want to help you, man. I'm so sorry.
Ego.
My goodness.
You Google bands with Ego, Morrissey just pops up. He's like first and foremost.
Now it's gonna bug me. Ego. They have a record produced by Steve Evans, and he's done a couple of our records. Hippie record, Steve Evans, Ego.
Ego Kill Talent?
There we go. That's it. Did I say that?
You were, if not, you were very close.
I said. I think I said Ego Talent Kill or something stupid.
Yes,
God,
I think
don't
close.
listen to me, dude. I don't fucking. Oh my goodness, dude. Yeah, Ego sucks, man. Ego almost fucking ruined my band.
Really?
I feel like
I would say that
Yeah.
it's the death of so many bands,
Yeah.
and they have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
It's a weird thing inside of you. It's
Yeah.
just like it would just cloud your judgment and clarity. You know?
dude, like I mean, obviously, you roll up to a show, you play to 20 kids, that sucks no matter what.
Sure.
But you get the bands who are, you just let it ruin their whole day, and they're like, I'm gonna blame anyone and everyone for
Yeah.
why there's no kids. And it's like, hey, you know what I learned today? That area does not like my band, and that's cool.
That's
Or
okay.
hasn't
and I'm
heard
gonna
of it
keep
yet,
working
yeah.
on it until they do.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Absolutely.
did I get to play a show like in a different part of the country than I live? That's so cool.
It's all about the ride.
And those 20 kids that did show up,
They
like
get
our
told more.
band,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and, you know, like they show up, we played an awesome set. Next time we come through, those 20 kids are coming with 20 of their friends.
Yeah.
And it just kind of builds over time and stuff. And I feel like that's something that like a lot of people do miss. That it's like you do have to build those like personal connections with that small crowd of people that showed up.
100%.
It's because I mean, if you can't do it in front of 5, 10, 20, what fucking makes you think you can do it for 100, 200, 1,000?
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
exactly.
Those are the ones that actually matter the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, especially like the amount of scenes that get built in like what is a C market, right? And then you play to 5 kids, but you come back and they've told 20 people each, and you're like, well, there's 100 kids, and guess what? No one else plays here. So you are 100 kids' favorite band of all time.
Yeah, that's cool.
because you're the only band they get to see.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that until right now. Yeah, I mean, a lot of great bands or genres are built in C markets,
Yeah,
not
totally.
not even B markets.
Yeah.
That is
I mean,
interesting.
yeah, like being someone from Arizona and stuff, a lot of people like look over it because it's like sometimes the shows aren't too great out there. There's not like, you know, too big of a scene out there. But, you know, once, you know, that scene like started building up and stuff, and then, you know, kids started bringing all their friends, and then, you know, a lot of like, you know, older people in the scene and stuff start showing up. And now you have like these massive shows that are happening in Arizona, and like
Whoa.
a lot of these Arizona local bands that are like phenomenal fucking bands, like some of the hardest shit you've ever heard, tend to get like looked over. But, you know, once people do start hearing about it, it's like, oh shit, Arizona's like a huge scene. And so it's like, I don't know, it's great.
I mean, 120 degrees and cactuses won't make you a hard band.
Yeah.
It is hot.
Make some angry music.
Cacti, first of all.
There we
But-
go.
Like, man, I need to write some nasty shit. It's fucking, it's fucking 120.
Let's spend 2 weeks in Arizona and just see what we come up with.
Yeah, you'll make a scary fucking record 2 weeks in Arizona.
I spent like 23 years out there.
Oh, my goodness.
I love Arizona.
Ringo, how old are you?
I'm 24.
24. Wow.
Yeah.
24, 25, Michael's 26.
I'm 26 in July. But
Oh, yeah.
I just
July.
started
Right.
saying it. I've
Yeah.
accepted it.
Mid-20s. Also something that I want people watching, listening to know about your band. So you're very, I want to say disciplined and just smart, because, I mean, obviously when people walk in, it's, I offer, because I don't know, hey, there's monsters here, there's beer, there's liquor, whatever you want, and none of you drink.
This is true.
That's
Shout out
smart.
sobriety, low key. Not I smoke weed, but shout out sobriety.
That is-
California sober.
that is smart. Was that discussed? Hey, I mean, we're gonna do this band. We're gonna go on tour.
I just
we're
think
not
it's
drinking.
dope that they are sober. You know, previous members, our old bassist, I think, partakes in marijuana, and then our old vocalist partakes in marijuana as well,
Partakes in marijuana.
Nicotine. And I only mention that because that's just not present at all. Like nicotine, alcohol, just not present. I don't bring weed when we tour. I just don't. Because horror stories, I am not going to pay attention to what state is legal. I'm just not, and I'm not taking the risk. I just refuse. Like, it's not worth it to me, no matter what. Like, the smallest amount. This is me personally. I don't obviously every single fucking tour. I'm like, yo, you got weed? Cool. I'm your best friend. Like, let's hang out. You know what I mean? Like,
Jay's on top of it. Weed state illegal. 2000.
Let's see. I'm always scared. And then you got the ones where it's like, yeah, we got Delta, whatever, where it's like, yeah, this is legal, but like if you set it on fire, it becomes illegal or some shit like that.
Okay,
but I'm gonna put it in a pre-roll for you.
Bringing it across state lines.
Go up a little bit. Okay, so U.S. marijuana legal by year. Okay, so obviously
I'm about to be shocked.
California, 2006, yes. Alaska, Nevada,
Maine?
Oregon, Washington, Maine. I was very Jay, what are you doing?
That takes me off.
Maine, Colorado, Hawaii, Montana.
Montana. Well, wait, what? Montana? Yes.
Seems like we're pretty safe most of the
Oh,
time.
yeah. This list is getting longer.
Okay.
And then Hawaii, no. Mexico,
Is this
Rhode
like
Island.
Delaware? Is it criminalized?
Well, so if it says yes on the left, that means it's recreational. If it says
No
no,
shit.
then it's
Okay, so
medical.
What?
New Hampshire, Minnesota say no, but yes on the right.
Yeah. So that means medically it's cool. But
Wow.
I'm actually really surprised.
Wait, is this accurate? Wait, go. What is this updated, Jay?
I mean, it had some of them from 2023, so it's
Okay, good.
gotta be like
Look at
decently.
that big gray Texas.
No, because
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Texas is a scary one. That's where I hear a lot of bands get arrested.
You
at.
are mostly safe. You know what I mean? Like you're mostly fine.
this
I
is
don't
an
want to take the
interesting
risk.
graph. Okay, so Michael, can you explain this graph to people just listening?
So we're looking at what is recreational, medical, and where it's just simply not okay. And it looks like the West Coast is mostly recreational / medical, which who's surprised? Utah is only medical, and then Idaho is alone with like, nah, fuck you, get that out of here. Idaho and Wyoming. We're not a Wyoming.
We're a fuck
band.
Wyoming.
Yeah, he said it for us.
the amount of times I've seen a band be like, "Yeah, we flipped our van in the middle of Wyoming." I'm like, I don't want to go there.
I am surprised from Oklahoma, Arkansas, all the way to Florida. Like everything
All
surrounding
medical.
Texas. Yeah, all medical. I didn't know that. I don't have a medical card though. So that's the
Yeah.
other thing, you know? And also, I just feel like I want to save them the trouble of having to worry. Like if we just happen to, like say we're going to like, we play Utah and then we're like, oh, we're going to Washington. We have to go through Idaho.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm going to throw all this weed away because if we just happen to get pulled over, you know what I mean? I'm just not dealing with it. I'm not. I'm good. I've heard so many stories of just bands like dealing with like asshole cops or like just like getting pinched for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somewhere like that.
I'm sure they appreciate the self-control a little bit at least.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, yeah,
just
it's great.
a
It's
little
great.
bit.
Me and Connor are both straight edge, so we
straight edge.
Yeah, we're straight edge. We don't drink, we don't smoke or anything like that. Anything
Oh,
like
shit.
I have like nothing against it or anything. It's just not for me.
Yeah,
so.
Connor's a huge dick about it, but like,
I mean, hey, if you drink alcohol, you're dead to me. But
You know what? I'm confused about this graph. Texas says none.
Yeah. That's where all the bands get
you
caught.
go
What-
there.
yeah, what's
you go
confusing,
there.
I
You go to a
think
show
that
and you're
sounds
like,
like
"Are you
Texas."
sure weed's illegal?" Because everyone has it and everyone is smoking it.
what I've heard the most is people will be like, "Don't get on a highway.
Texas.
Yeah.
If you
No,
have
no.
weed, just
What?
don't get on a highway."
It's a felony, and we're like, "Excuse me," and he's like, "Yeah, but I still like smoke blunts on the way to work." We're like, "Word, okay,
yeah.
y'all are tough."
Hey Jay, type in is weed legal in Texas, 2023.
Like,
I did,
how illegal is it?
I did
Or how
think,
legal is it? Will
I
you go to
did-
prison?
Yeah, I thought they were starting to make it medicinal, but
Except for medicinal use.
okay.
Punishable by law.
Yeah, I mean, we know someone who was. It was a bit silly. They were sleeping on the ground in a Walmart,
Okay.
like out on the floor, instead of sleeping in their van because it was hot.
Yep.
That's
Cop-
loitering now.
Yeah, cop rolled
Yes.
up on them and basically was like, "I have like reason to search your vehicle."
Oh no.
And they had weed, and they ended up in jail.
no.
And they had to like figure out a way to like they're in a metalcore band. They don't have bail. Like, they're not going to post bail. So they had to, like, figure out how to get the funds together to get him out.
Dude, my dad'd be like, sleep tight. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
What was the state again?
Texas.
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 Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So especially if you're... It seems like it depends on where you go into the state of Texas, because some places there are crazy stops. Like, especially if you're closer to the border, they are, like, looking inside every vehicle, depending on the time of day, especially.
Sure.
But some place, like, if you come in through Oklahoma or whatever, they're like, whatever. It's like, there's no border patrol or anything to Texas.
We've been very fortunate with the state of Texas. We love the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Playing
great.
shows, rolling through. The funniest thing that's ever happened is that one time we had our van was disgustingly dirty. And they had just drew a bunch of dicks on the back of the van. And the entire side of the van was just like one
giant cock.
Yeah, and we had completely forgotten that they had done this. And so we roll up to like border, like, you know what I mean?
That's asking for
Yeah,
something.
they asked
for trouble.
They asked us some questions, and then like as we pull away, they're like, "Check out the art," and they start laughing. Everyone was like, "What?" And then we got out to the gas station. It's just dicks all over the fucking van. It's just, that was good. Like, yeah. So we've been very fortunate.
Best case scenario.
Yeah, best case scenario.
But to answer your original question, no, it wasn't intentional. It just panned out that way, and it's
great.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. Everyone can be awake and drive, and we don't have to worry about, well, that person's out drinking now, so we got to figure out who's driving.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, that's so much inconvenience is just will just leave you. It's great. I'm here hungover. You know, it fucking sucks.
And like we said earlier, like we love hanging out with people who party. Like we think it's so fun.
It's kind of our favorite people to tour with is people who party because it's just because we don't. So it's just like fuck yeah, we're here to hang out and we're gonna remember this. This is gonna be sick. Like, everything you do right now.
It's like they were an idiot.
It's a good time
for me.
Well, and going back to something that they had said earlier, like finding people who are like-minded, but without it ever being a checklist that's like, do you drink? Yes or no? But like, when everyone kind of lines up on how they approach touring, how they approach their lifestyles, things like that, and then it's like, oh, cool, like you also are sober, like you also don't drink, you also whatever, and to have that be a coincidental benefit as opposed to like an intentional like choice of like you're not allowed in if you do these things. It's one of those things that immediately you see the benefits and you watch how it like impacts how a tour goes, how interacting on stage goes, all that stuff. Like, and it just makes life just that much smoother and all the shows go that much easier because it's one less variable. And like they were saying with writing music and with being on stage, stuff like that, it's just when everyone's on the same page, stuff just goes so much smoother. Yeah. So it works.
We're fortunate enough that we're all like-minded. It's awesome being on tours with like-minded people. Yep. That's the best.
I mean, I think on this tour there's like 12 straight edge
so many
people.
straight edge kids.
It's awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, No Cure is a straight edge band.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the vocalist of MyChildren MyBride is straight edge.
Yes.
One member of YSD is straight edge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just a bunch of people that are straight edge.
Yeah.
I think Cyrus might be. I'm not sure.
Dude, this tour I would not have fun.
Shout out Wheeling Stewart.
Oh my goodness. Shout out. That's great. Do you and one last question for you, Michael. Do you so since like you have like, you know, obviously you just explain the band, like are you writing riffs and smoking or
I feel like I'm useless if I'm high trying to write. I feel like I'm so useless. I will listen to it high and see how it makes me feel. I have this thing where it's like we don't get to practice, so I try really hard to like imagine how something's gonna feel on stage.
It's great.
Like really, really hard. Because the last thing I want to do is write a song and you're on stage and you're like, this part fucking sucks. Like everyone's looking at me. I don't want to play this right now. Like that's the last thing I want to be faced with ever again. So like I always put myself there mentally, like what would be happening here. And I feel like the clearest that does come through is if I do smoke and like listen to stuff. When it comes to like writing, I feel like I can't commit to ideas enough. I feel like there's too much going on. You know what I mean? So it definitely, I feel like it centers myself, brings me like to earth, and just like I can put myself like on stage, like think about stuff. That's where a lot of like, so if we write like a demo of a song, I'm usually very happy with it, and then I'll smoke or something, and I'll be like, get it in my head. It's like, wait a second, I can do something, and that's where an idea will start and just like snowballs from that point. I used to like record I used to record all of our music. I still do to a point on like the demos on like an iPad, like in GarageBand. And if I ever had like an idea, like if it was a tempo change or like we need to slow down or whatever, I would literally have to make a new track. I still have to do that. So
Of course.
it's moved on to like I just have ideas now, and I just keep it in my head. And if it never leaves me, that's what we're gonna do with it. Like we're gonna commit to that. But if it's forgettable, it's forgettable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I had the resources to make demos, I feel like we'd pump out music much quicker. But
it is cool though, because the way that we just did like an EP that's going to come out later this year, and the way that it like all panned out is he had some demos and he showed up at my place. We sanctioned off like a week before tour, and I just had everything set up down in my little studio in my basement, and like we were ripping it live as we were playing it.
Yeah.
To be like, first of all, does it feel good to play?
Yeah.
And secondly, I can get the tempos based off of how we just played that. Like,
Yeah.
there's
the most
no
organic
click.
feeling experience.
Yeah, it's just like we play this at 189.
Yeah.
I'm not changing it.
I'm
Like,
a
that's
terrible
perfect.
jammer. I don't know if anyone, I'm sure
Really?
a lot of guitar players can relate to this. I'm a terrible like, yo, let's jam. Like, just bring over your guitar. Let's go over some ideas. I'm like, fuck you know, what do you mean?
Wow.
Like I can't just like be in a room and be like, oh, let's just start from here. I have to come in with an idea, a backbone, a structure, a riff. Like it has to start somewhere for me because
Interesting.
I feel like I take myself out so often, and I'll be like, this is
Yeah.
some fucking local ass riff. You know, like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Just like too simple or like too like lowest hanging fruit. Sometimes I feel like it needs to be put through the ringer. Like your ideas need that extra push. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm honest. I'll be like at home. I'll meet other people that play guitar and be like, we should jam. And I'll be like, I'm useless. Like I can't shred or anything like that. I'll be like, I'll listen to what you have and be like, yeah, that's dope. Like.
Like you ever jam with like the buddies, but not right? I mean, you're just playing like
When we're at home, to figure out some of the newer songs, like we used to all jam at our old vocalist place because he had like the resources to do that. So I go and like feel out songs because they have a drum kit. Even just that helps a lot. Just being able to feel it out with like another person or hear it at a loud volume, or I'm not just playing like guitar over a drum track. That helps like immensely. You know what I mean? Just puts you in that, like I said, like that live space again. You know. But yeah, I think the best is what we did, where it's like we set off time and just like he creates what is essentially a live mix and you just go crazy. Because even the dumb stuff sounds awesome, and that's what you want is like something where it's like you're playing a caveman riff, but you don't talk yourself out of it. Like it's like, oh, this is too stupid. It's not going to sound good on record. It's like, no, it sounds pretty dope. It sounds pretty heavy right here. I think we can do that. You know what I mean? That helped a lot. I have a terrible time committing to like stuff like that. And I feel like that definitely helped a lot, was just hearing it in that context.
Yeah.
To add on to that, Connor is a, first of all, phenomenal producer, and he produces and writes for my other band, and we run into the same problem where I'll go up with a riff and then just sit down. And first of all, because he's such a talented musician and drummer, but also just producer in general, we'll play a riff, and then because we're not doing it live or anything like that, we're sitting there, we're doing multiple takes and we're programming drums and stuff. All of a sudden, over the course of an hour, that riff turns into this like indecipherable crazy thing, and then it's like, okay, so now we need to find the balance of like, let's pull that back a little bit to what actually sounds good, because you don't know you've crossed the line until there's a point where you like, you step away to go get some Taco Bell or something like that.
Sure.
You come back and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Dylan's your fire escape plan.
It's like,
Wait. Yeah.
So I feel like having that live, you just sit down, you play the riff, and you don't overthink it, you don't overcomplicate it, you don't have to loop it and change it every single time because you're bored of hearing it. Like once you just sit down and just like jam that shit out, that's when you're like, oh, this is a cool idea.
It's freeing
like,
almost to be like, oh, okay, like it's validating to hear it in that and be like, that is heavy. That's not too simple. That's like that's what I want out of this. Like we talking about, if another band did this, I'd be like, fuck it, that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Just let it be what it is.
Is it possible to be too simple though?
It's about balance.
Yeah.
I can't name a band off the top of my head where it's like it's too simple. I'm not into that.
I think
But
like the simple parts really highlight the not simple parts. So it's if you're like if you're playing like these super fast, like riffy, like crazy guitar parts, crazy drums, like super fast, whatever, and then you just drop it into just drums just doing a straight beat, guitar just open chugs, whatever. It's like that is like as simple as it gets, but because of like the context, it's like that's the hardest part of the song.
Best example I feel like is like Dimebag. It's like the reason Pantera gets away with Walk is because have you heard every other song? Like, have you heard Primal Concrete Sledge? Have you heard like those crazy riffs he's playing? So like, that dude's allowed to have a riff that's 0-1-0 for like 5 minutes. He's allowed. You know what I mean? It's that balance.
Yeah.
I feel like where too simple is bad is when songwriting is too simple. Yeah. Like you'll notice that, like you'll listen to a band and be like, oh, it's A B, big ring out, breakdown, like whatever. Like just like say it's like by the numbers. I think that's where I feel like a lot of people might just mentally check out. You know what I mean? But you could have simple ass riffs and have it go crazy. Like on paper, Meshuggah's simple. You know what I mean? On paper.
But you listen, it's like that's the heaviest thing you've ever listened to.
And I think the thing that we do a lot is if the guitar part is simple, the drums are not. And if the drums are simple, the guitar part isn't.
Yeah.
Because when everything is simple or when nothing is simple, it's too much.
Yeah.
So like
if it's always 100, it's never 100.
Yeah. In the new song that we just put out, there's a riff that is. I tracked all the bass on the new stuff. It is a nightmare to play this riff. And so I was like, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. And I'll throw fill in.
That's why I did that.
Yeah. Because I was like, this doesn't need anything else. The riff is what's important there.
Yeah.
But then you have a, 08 style breakdown and we're like, okay, I need to change the drums so it doesn't just sound like
it's all about striking that balance for sure. Yeah.
I was just talking to the guys from Your Spirit Dies about this last night, that I think if you have a complex part and you try to water it down, then you end up with something that feels lukewarm. It doesn't feel like it's like popping off. Yeah. But if you have a simple part that you feel like you have to overcomplicate to make it more interesting, then you wind up with it not hitting the way that you need it to. Especially like in our style of music, like you need that stuff to punch you in the fucking teeth. So if you try to overcomplicate the simple stuff or oversimplify the complicated stuff, then you end up with this kind of like just tepid middle ground stuff. So it's like you have to when it's riffy, let it fucking riff. And when it's simple, just let it punch. But like if you try to meet in the middle with everything, then it just kind of loses steam.
Yeah. I'm really obsessive about song structure and like songwriting. I'm more impressed by a really well written section or song than anything, like because I don't consider myself like an exceptional guitar player, and I mean that as in like I literally can't solo to save my life. I'm not like a clean tremolo like death metal guy. I feel like I'm competent, but I'm really blown away when someone can just write a section where it's like they went from this tempo to this tempo and I didn't bat an eye and it sounded so heavy, and like how do you just like have people malleable like tempos and crazy sections. Like I think that's so much more impressive than anything.
Yeah, that last, I mean, it's a nasty riff on on your latest single, like that fucking last that riff, which is kind of now I didn't go back and listen to it because now I know it's in standard C.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like
sounds
that.
like an engine. Like,
what? Who wrote that?
What's up? How you doing? Yeah, I like this. Okay, this sounds like so dumb that this is my example when I think about writing riff structure. But there's a band called Chon from San Diego. I'm sure a lot of guitar people know and like them. They do like jazz, like with metal essentially. Like, but it's jazz. It's all there. I learned a lot of their songs just to like understand. You know what I mean? And I love when you like, as someone who's like learned a lot of band songs, you'll start to see when it's like, oh, you were just jamming this. Like you didn't think, you weren't trying, you weren't setting out to accomplish this thing. Like this is just how you play guitar. Like say you were sound checking and you thought this riff was cool. You know what I mean? You can see that style in their guitar playing. And something that I noticed with them is like they will write the same riff for 4 bars, but they won't let it be the same for all 4 bars. They will change something about it, whether it's just a note landing on here or like move this up, move this down, or whatever.
That. And that's cool until you try to learn the songs.
It's stuck. That stuck with me really hard. So if you learn a Mugshot riff, it's like it starts off with this structure that's like in front of you, and then I'm like, yeah, but then I fuck it up here, and then we fuck it up here, and then we only do this once, and we fuck it up here again. Like,
it's like doing Sudoku. It's like a math problem that you have to listen to.
It's not the headiest music, but it's enough to be a headache to play. I feel like you know what I mean. But I think it translating to it having like that caveman reaction, like as a listener, I think that's the goal. You know what I mean? Because it still hits like that last breakdown is so dumb. Like it's just
it's just like the
a slam. Yeah, it's still annoying to play.
Well, it sounds sick.
Thank you, brother.
I mean, your band should be proud how far you've gotten.
Yeah,
in such like a short.
We're from me and him being from San Jose. I love I love the RBS scene. I love like the San Jose hardcore scene. I
Yeah.
think all the bands that come out of that scene is just it's insane.
Tsunami.
Well, yeah, Tsunami and
Yeah.
Gulch and Train.
Yeah.
Just like growing up in that scene and seeing the bands that they were in before, and like going to those shows. Like me and him have been going to those shows like since before like before Gulch was a band. Like I was seeing the band before that, and before like Hands of God was big. Like I remember going to those shows and just being like, I was so enamored by all of that. So seeing them start other bands and have them reach the level they did is unreal, inspiring. Like Gulch's last show is one of the craziest videos I've ever seen in my life. You know, that's so inspiring to be like, they're from San Jose. Like
It's
that's
also
our
cool
scene.
because the energy never changed. Like when I was 14 going to those shows, like True Hearted and Spinebreaker, these bands that ended up being what are the current like contemporaries.
Yeah.
It was always the same energy. It was just instead of 5,000 people in between two warehouses or whatever, it's 100 kids.
Yeah.
But everyone is having fun.
Yeah,
and it's the most fun.
That's the thing. That's why we're so live music driven. Is because if you see like Bay bands, especially in the Bay, it is just like the best cathartic like live energy. It's a party. You know what I mean? And that's I always say this when we talk about like Bay bands. My favorite thing about hardcore and about Bay bands especially is like hardcore today is so malleable. Like you can add your flavor and it's still hardcore. Like you can add thrash, you can add death metal, you can add black metal. Like you can have these influences that are clear influences, but you're still a hardcore band. I think that's so fucking cool. And especially that like those three things I just named, like those are clear influences of those like the big Bay bands, you know? So I've always approached Mugshot as like, I love hardcore. That's like my favorite genre, but I'm very aware that we're a metalcore band. And so if we could be that band that's like, oh, I don't really listen to hardcore, but I love metalcore, and you guys are like a hardcore band I'm into, and then vice versa. Like be that
That's the
gateway
dream.
for the genre.
Yeah.
That would be, that's like all I care
Dream.
about. You know what I mean?
Also, shout out Machine Gun Benny from Tsunami.
Yeah, shout out
I
to him.
love him.
Benny's the best.
Talking about touring with people who smoke.
We toured with his dude. Oh my! We toured with his other band, These Streets, a couple times, and we love Benny. He's the best. He's just
Also
the
one
best
of our
vibe.
favorite groups of people. Shout out These Streets.
Oh yeah.
Shout out these streets.
Shout out. Well, I am honored that seriously, was quite a pleasure for me to be involved in the up and coming of your band and having like the first interview.
Dude,
Yeah.
thank you. For real. Thank you.
How fucking crazy!
Yeah, pretty nerve wracking.
Wow,
Yeah.
I was nervous.
I really appreciate it, honestly.
Fuck, I was nervous.
We're super intimidating guys, so hopefully we warmed up.
You
a
were
little
like,
bit.
man, they've never done an interview. This is gonna be terrible. They're gonna suck.
Well, it's different because usually I have like research that I can do and have like
Sure.
all these notes and like a backup
Totally.
plan. It's like, how am I going to do this? And I'm fucking hungover. I've been listening to metal in Milwaukee for 4 days straight. I was like,
Got
oh
a nice
my.
tan. You're golden. Yeah.
I went to the Milwaukee Metal Fest and it was fucking sick.
Oh, hell
That's
yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
Who's your
That's
favorite
awesome.
band you saw? Would you say?
It was Fear Factory.
No shit?
Yeah.
Probably massive live.
Fear
That's
Factory is sick. Their new singer he's killing it. He's doing a great job.
Hell yeah.
He's doing awesome. And the fans are welcoming him, and it's really cool to see.
Dude, that's
That's
awesome.
the best. Yeah.
Shout out Fear Factory.
Oh, that was the lineup?
Yeah, that was lineup. Lemon God, Anthrax,
Wow.
Napalm Death.
dude,
Shout out
Gate
Creeper.
Creeper.
They were awesome. Defeated
Yeah,
Sanity.
that is crazy.
Hey, Bog is on there. Shout out Bog.
The Bog,
Yeah.
I saw the Bog yesterday.
So good.
That's
I
wild.
love that they're next to the other indistinguishable band.
Yep.
Blood Incantation. Like, favorite logos in the game.
Yeah, so that's where I was for 4 days.
That rules.
That's awesome.
Fucking
Thank you for doing this
headbanging.
with us.
No, thank
Yeah, thanks for fitting us in right
Thank
after.
you.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
No, I mean, thank you. I mean, this was so for people who know, like, this was supposed to be your day off,
Yeah.
and you're probably already supposed to be in Arizona. You were probably
On our way, yeah.
you probably could have hung out with like, old friends.
Yeah,
you know?
which, they're hopefully going to be all at the shows and stuff. And it's
Perfect.
going to be so good to see everyone again. I miss the Arizona hardcore scene so much. Like, everyone there
man.
is just so cool and connected. And I'm stoked to be part of it.
That's sick.
Yeah, this is super cool. We were literally talking about Suicide Silence yesterday. Like, you're a band. Your band is a band we talk about basically every tour,
Yeah.
almost every show. We just let's start talking about music. Like, y'all are gonna come up for sure every single
Whoa.
time.
Every
Literally
time.
yesterday,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
talking with Your Spirit Dies about, like, we were just talking about old deathcore. Just talking about what's your quintessential album, and the singer of
Wow.
YSD was like Cleansing. It's like, that's my one, like, from back in the day. Just if I were to take anything and just the genre all in one, that's it. I was like, yeah,
And
We meet that
appreciate
motherfucker.
Connor and I on for my other band, we went and recorded at Machine Shop, so we were talking about that. Like, so
great.
it's like
Another
to be
video
here,
that I watched the shit out of. Suicide Silence at Machine. Watched
Yeah.
the shit out of that.
but yeah,
Iconic.
it's very very cool to be here. So thank you.
Yeah.
My pleasure. All right, where can people find you?
All of our socials are Mugshot CA. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, all that stuff. We're all over the place.
We only follow us.
Yeah.
on the
If
Mugshot
you
thing.
Go to Instagram or Twitter, you can find our personal @. We love talking to people, so
Great.
it's never an inconvenience when people message us. Try not to be weird and
Or be weird. It'd be awesome. We'll talk about it. Like,
weird.
either be super weird or just be normal. Like it's gotta be one or the other.
You're getting some weirdos.
You know.
Every once in a while, the one will slide in and like, oh no.
Dude, it's an awesome story though. It's cool.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, everyone, that's it. Later.
Awesome.
Thank you.